And so, the legend of the Madonna dello Scoglio continued to intertwine with the daily life of the small village and its surroundings. Over the years, Cosimo, now known as Brother Cosimo, became a charismatic and essential figure for the community. His humility, his dedication, and his ability to listen to the stories and pains of those who came before him meant that the sanctuary evolved, transforming itself into a true spiritual and human meeting place, where faith was mixed with concrete gestures of solidarity. The origins of the sanctuary, born from an apparition that had shaken the foundations of reality, were enriched over time with curious details and anecdotes that are still told today with a voice trembling with emotion. One of these stories tells of an old carpenter, Don Giovanni, who one day, walking along the path that led to the Scoglio, found a small engraving carved into an ancient wood among the rocks. There, between the grain of the wood, an almost imperceptible writing could be clearly distinguished: faith and love, forever. Don Giovanni, convinced that that sign was a direct message from the Madonna, began to always carry that fragment with him, becoming a symbol of a hope that went far beyond simple appearances. His testimony, spread in the markets and squares, meant that even those who were far from those lands found the strength to believe in an inner rebirth. The climate of spirituality that reigned at the Scoglio attracted, over the years, not only devout pilgrims in search of miracles, but also scholars, historians, and the curious. A group of young researchers, led by a brilliant doctoral student in the history of religions, decided to document every aspect of that phenomenon, collecting interviews, ancient manuscripts, and even visual testimonies of that magical era. During their research, they discovered that the area around the Scoglio had been a pre-Christian place of worship for centuries, where the inhabitants already honored forces of nature and benevolent spirits. The fusion between ancient and modern, between the sacred pagan and the divine Christian, helped make the sanctuary a unique place, where every stone seemed to tell a fragment of history, a secret jealously guarded by time. Meanwhile, Brother Cosimo, with his now legendary figure, promoted numerous solidarity projects. He did not limit himself to leading pilgrims in prayer, but actively engaged in the realization of small renovation and assistance works for families in difficulty. One of the most beloved initiatives was to transform an old abandoned farmhouse near Scoglio into a reception center, where the elderly, the unemployed, and young people looking for a second chance could find a roof, a hot meal and, above all, a listening ear in comfort. The stories of rebirth that emerged from that center spread well beyond the borders of Calabria, making the sanctuary become a symbol of rebirth not only spiritual, but also social. The beauty of the place and the climate of harmony also attracted artists and poets, who saw in this setting a perfect fusion of nature and divinity. Every spring, in conjunction with the Feast of the Apparition, a review of music and poetry was held under the stars. These events, characterized by spontaneous and vibrant participation, transformed the night into a multisensory experience, where the notes of the lutes and the warm voices of the singers merged with the sound of the wind in the olive trees and the murmur of the people in prayer. The visitors, enraptured by the magic of the event, left the place with their hearts full of emotions and their minds ready to dream of new horizons. But there were also moments of reflection and mystery. On a cold winter night, many years after the first apparitions, some believers claimed to have witnessed an even more inexplicable phenomenon, a shower of rose petals, falling like a light blessing on the sanctuary. The roses, which seemed never to wither, became a symbol of the eternal promise of life and hope, a sign that the miracle was not an isolated event, but a continuous flow of grace that crossed time and space. The story of these wonders was not limited to being a mere narration of extraordinary events, but was intertwined with the daily lives of those who had been fortunate enough to live those experiences. Confessions, interviews, and even simple chats at the village bar became an integral part of a cultural and spiritual mosaic, in which faith mixed with a sense of community and love for the land. The local elders, with their eyes full of wisdom and memories, remembered how, as children, they had heard the stories of those apparitions narrated in almost fairy tale tones, while the younger ones wondered if they too would one day be able to witness a miracle. The legacy left by the Madonna dello Scoglio had the power to transform every encounter into an opportunity for inner growth. A young student, looking for some inspiration for his future, found himself walking the rocky paths of the sanctuary and sitting on the same rock where Cosimo had seen the vision. That day, immersed in contemplation and in the silence broken only by the singing of birds, made him understand how precious the harmony between man and nature was, a harmony that is often forgotten in the hustle and bustle of modern life. During the annual celebrations, the pilgrims never forgot the initial message of the Madonna, an invitation to renew their faith, not to give in to the cynicism of the world and to rediscover the beauty hidden in every gesture of love and prayer. During one of these celebrations, a group of young people organized an evening themed miracle stories, in which stories, testimonies, and even small theatrical performances alternated, reproposing, in a modern key, the apparitions and events of Brother Cosimo. That combination of tradition and innovation made the celebration a moment of great involvement, where faith was lived not only as a ritual, but as a shared and authentic experience. The story of the Madonna dello Scoglio, however, was not only an echo of the past, but a constant source of inspiration for the future. Numerous cultural and artistic projects were conceived to enhance the spiritual and landscape heritage of the place. A famous writer, struck by the story, decided to write a novel that intertwined the reality of the sanctuary with fantastic and surreal elements, giving life to a work that soon became a bestseller. This novel helped to renew interest in the sanctuary, bringing visitors from all over the world eager to immerse themselves in that dimension suspended between myth and reality. Even the young entrepreneurs of the territory, inspired by the contagious energy of that place, found in the sanctuary a model to follow to create an economy based on the valorization of the cultural and natural heritage. Thus, small artisan workshops, shops of typical products and food and wine routes were born that allowed anyone to savor the authenticity and hospitality of Calabria. This economic renewal, supported by the strength of the community, was welcomed with enthusiasm and brought new lifeblood to the territory, transforming the small village into a point of reference not only for spirituality, but also for culture and social innovation. In conclusion, the story of the Madonna dello Scoglio is much more than a simple tale of miraculous apparitions. It is the symbol of a rebirth, a hymn to resilience and to the ability of the human being to find light even in the darkest moments. Every stone, every flower, and every gaze of the pilgrims testifies to the power of an authentic faith, capable of overcoming the barriers of time and transforming reality into a path of hope and renewal. And while the lights of the sunset merge with the glow of the moon on the Scoglio, the memory of that first apparition continues to shine, guiding anyone who dares to dream of a better future. And you, dear friend, what do you think of this extraordinary story? Have you ever had an experience that made you feel close to the divine? Perhaps, in every hidden corner of this world, there is a secret to be discovered, a light ready to illuminate our path. The Madonna dello Scoglio teaches us that, even in the din of modern life, a miracle can be hidden in a simple act of kindness or in a gesture of sincere love. Let your curiosity lead you to explore, to search and, above all, to believe that every step taken with the heart can lead you to a deeper truth.